Your pocket change could be hiding a fortune. We're talking about rare Jefferson Nickels with Monticello on the back. Some are worth millions. Here's what to look for. This is practically nothing, right? This is the coin you ignore, the one you leave as a tip, or the one you might even toss in the trash. It's just pocket change. But hold on, because in a moment, I'm going to show you why that seemingly worthless 5-cent piece could be the single most important financial mistake you never knew you were making. There is a version of this coin, a ghost, a numismatic phantom, that is so rare, so shrouded in mystery, that a single specimen recently commanded a price that could buy you a house in a very nice neighborhood. We're talking about the 1964 Jefferson Nickel, and the difference between a nickel and nearly $700,000 hinges on a few microscopic details you would never notice unless you knew precisely what you were looking for. You are about to learn exactly what separates a spender from a collector. Let's dive in. Here's the paradox of the 1964 Jefferson Nickel. It is, by all accounts, one of the most common coins in American history. Over 2.8 billion of these coins were struck across the Philadelphia and Denver mints. The Philadelphia Mint, which does not place a mint mark on its coins, produced over 1 billion of them. That massive number is the result of a desperate attempt to combat a national coin shortage in the early 1960s, so they minted these things at a breakneck pace. Consequently, a standard 1964 nickel is worth exactly 5 cents. You can find them in junk drawers, old coin jars, and the change you get from the grocery store every single day. However, the sheer mass production of these coins is exactly what creates the value for the rarities. Because quality control during this rush was often compromised, and because a mysterious experimental batch of coins was struck under highly classified circumstances, a tiny fraction of these billions are so different from the rest that they are considered holy grails of modern numismatics. Let's confront the mythology directly. The 1964 nickel with no mint mark is typically worthless. The billion-plus coins from Philadelphia have no mint mark, so that alone is not special. The true treasure lies in the anomalies and the elite strike quality. Stop right now and look at a Jefferson Nickel. I'll wait. Look at the Monticello building on the back. Do you see the steps leading up to the entrance? This is the primary diagnostic tool you need. Your common 1964 nickel will likely show a mushy, indistinct set of lines if you can see them at all. That is because the dies used to make these billions of coins were overused, rushed, and lacked the detail of earlier strikes. But if you look at your coin and can count at least 5 distinct, crisp steps without any break or contact mark obscuring them, you are holding a coin that qualifies for the full steps designation. This is the first major sign that your pocket change might be a winner. In 2021, a 1964D Jefferson Nickel with that full steps designation, graded at MS66, sold for $6,000. In an MS67 grade, one went for $14,100. Because the steps were the highest point of the die and were the first to wear out, a sharply struck full steps coin is extremely scarce. But we are just getting started. The next level of rarity involves something called the 1964 SMS or Special Strike. This is where the story goes from interesting to legendary. During the turmoil of 1964, the U.S. Mint was experimenting with a new type of finish that would eventually become the special mint set for 1965 through 1967. However, for reasons that remain a complete mystery to this day, the Mint secretly struck a handful of prototype special strike coins in 1964. Experts believe that only about 20 to 40 sets were ever produced. They weren't released to the public. In fact, the numismatic community didn't even know they existed until the estate of former U.S. Mint Director Eva B. Adams was auctioned in the early 1990s, revealing these anomalous coins. The 1964 SMS nickels possess a unique, satiny finish that is neither the frosty look of a business strike nor the mirrored surface of a proof coin. They were struck with more pressure, resulting in sharper details, squared-off rims, and, of course, that coveted full steps designation. These coins are the ghosts in the machine of American coinage. This isn't an error in the traditional sense. It is an entirely distinct experimental strike type. Now, let's connect this ghost story to the $699,000 figure. This is where the concept of the error becomes specific. While the standard SMS coin can bring around $32,000 to $34,000 at auction, The ultimate prize is an even more specific variation within that already ultra-rare SMS population. The market value for a pristine 1964 SMS Jefferson Nickel with the full steps designation, particularly in the top population grade of SP68, is where we see that astronomical value. The $699,000 valuation represents the absolute pinnacle, a coin with nearly perfect preservation that is also one of the rarest modern U.S. coins in existence. Since PCGS estimates that only about 20 examples exist in the top grade of MS65 or better across the entire SMS population, the opportunity to own one is virtually a once-in-a-lifetime event. We are talking about a coin so rare that its discovery in a 1960s-era proof set or estate collection would be akin to finding a Renoir at a garage sale. So, the question is no longer, is my 1964 nickel worth money? The question is, what kind of 1964 nickel do I have? The market right now is on fire for these top-tier rarities. Collectors are willing to pay a premium for quality, and the market for full steps and SMS varieties is only getting hotter as more people learn about this hidden wealth. The precious metal value of the nickel is irrelevant because the copper-nickel composition has remained standard, making the numismatic premium entirely about the coin story and strike quality. This is your call to action. I want you to pull out your change jar right now. Look at every 1964 Jefferson Nickel you have. Check the steps on Monticello. Look for a sharp strike, squared rims, and a satin-like luster. Because while the odds of finding an SMS are statistically astronomical, the potential reward is life-changing. The difference between a spender and a collector is simply knowledge and a moment of attention. Do not be the person who spends $1 million coin for a pack of gum. You now know the secret. You are part of the inner circle that understands the true value of pocket change. If you found this deep dive fascinating and want to keep this momentum going, make sure to subscribe and hit that notification bell. In our next video, we will be uncovering the mystery of the 1943 copper penny and its own legendary status as a $100,000 plus error. Until then, check your change and stay sharp. You never know what fortune is hiding in plain sight. There exists a thin, shimmering line between the ordinary and the extraordinary. It is a line that most people walk across every single day without even realizing it, their pockets jingling with the mundane, their eyes blind to the profound. On one side, you have the spender, the vast majority of humanity who views a nickel as simply a fraction of a dollar, a tool for a vending machine or a piece of ignored copper-nickel alloy destined to gather dust in a forgotten jar. On the other side stands the collector, the visionary who understands that true wealth does not always come from a paycheck, but often hides in the unlikeliest of places. Today, we are not talking about stocks, bonds, or real estate. We are talking about the 1981 P. Monticello Thomas Jefferson Nickel, a coin that has, in the rarest of circumstances, shattered records and transformed pocket change into a staggering fortune of up to a potential $581,000. That is right. That unassuming 5-cent piece, the one you have probably dismissed 1,000 times, could be the key to unlocking a treasure worth more than many luxury homes. But how is this possible? How can a coin with a face value of 5 cents command the price of a high-end sports car? The answer lies in the chaotic, beautiful, and extremely lucrative world of minting errors, a world where mistakes are not flaws but blessings, and where rarity dictates value. We are about to embark on a journey into the deep end of numismatics. So, before you scroll past this video or dismiss this as hyperbole, I urge you to stop. Look at your screen. Then, look at the change in your pocket or the jar on your dresser. Could you be holding a ghost, an apparition of the minting process so rare that only a handful of collectors will ever touch it? The clock is ticking, and the market is heating up. Let's dive deep into the mystery, the history, and the explosive value of one of the most elusive coins in modern American history. To understand the legend of the 1981 P. nickel, we must first understand the art of minting and the science of the error. In the world of numismatics, not all coins are created equal. A coin that leaves the mint looking flawless is known as a business strike, mass-produced and easily valued. But when the machinery of the United States Mint hiccups, when the dies misalign or the planchet is flawed, a new breed of coin is born, the error coin. These anomalies are the holy grail for collectors because they represent a singular moment of chaos frozen in time. No two error coins are exactly alike, making them unique pieces of history. The 1981 P nickel was produced at the Philadelphia Mint, identifiable by the small P mint mark situated to the right of Thomas Jefferson's bust. While over 657 million of these coins were struck that year, the vast majority are common and worth only 5 cents. But hidden amongst those millions are the anomalies, the coins that were struck on the wrong planchet, the ones that received a double strike, or the ones that suffer from what collectors call a broad-struck error. A broad-struck error occurs when the retaining collar, which is supposed to hold the metal in place during striking, fails. Without this collar, the metal is free to expand outward, resulting in a coin that is wider, thinner, and larger than a standard nickel. It looks like it has been flattened by a heavy object. However, even within the realm of error coins, there are tiers of rarity. Think of it like a pyramid. At the bottom, you have minor die cracks and small cuts. In the middle, you have broad strikes and off-center strikes. But sitting at the very apex of this pyramid are the off-metal errors. These are the coins that hold the potential for a $581,000 payday. We are talking about a 1981 P nickel that was accidentally struck on a planchet meant for a different denomination, or even a foreign coin. Imagine the chaos on the mint floor, a planchet designed for a penny, weighing 3.1 grams instead of the standard 5.0 grams for a nickel, somehow finds its way into the press designed for the 5-cent coin. The dies slam down and the resulting coin is a ghost. It has the design of a nickel, the face of Jefferson, the majestic Monticello estate, but it weighs significantly less and has a slightly smaller diameter and copper hue of a cent. Heritage auctions and the leading grading services, NGC and PCGS, have documented these errors, with some 1981 P nickels struck on copper cent planchets commanding thousands of dollars at auction. Yet, the astronomical $581,000 figure is the result of a perfect storm of errors. A unique combination that not only includes the off-metal strike but also a dramatic double strike, where the coin was hit twice by the dies in slightly different positions, creating a mesmerizing, ghost-like doubling of the design. This confluence of errors makes it one of the rarest pieces in existence, a true ghost coin that most numismatists will never see in their lifetime. Here is your first attention reset. I want you to pause for a moment. Look at the nickels in your pocket. Look at the loose change in your car's cup holder. Do you see any that look slightly off? Is the date blurry? Is the rim uneven? Does it feel lighter than it should? These are the subtle signs of an error. And if you find one, you are no longer just a spender. You have crossed into the realm of the collector, and the discovery could be life-changing. But remember, the window of opportunity to buy these off the market is closing. As more people wake up to this hidden wealth, the probability of finding one of these ghost coins in circulation drops to nearly zero. The time to look is right now. The history of the Jefferson Nickel itself is a testament to American resilience and design. It replaced the iconic Buffalo nickel in 1938, designed by sculptor Felix Schlag, who won a competition of nearly 400 artists. For decades, the coin has been a staple of American commerce, with its iconic view of Monticello, Jefferson's Virginia plantation, gracing the reverse. But the specific allure of the 1981 P error coins lies in their ghostly nature. They represent a glitch in the matrix. The U.S. Mint is one of the most sophisticated production facilities in the world, which makes the existence of these errors so fascinating. They are not just coins. They are artifacts of a moment in time when production went wrong, and in that wrongness, created immense value. For the 30 to 65-year-old demographic seeking tangible assets and alternative investments, these coins represent a hedge against inflation and a profound connection to physical history that digital currency simply cannot replicate. As the economy fluctuates, collectors and investors alike turn to precious metals and rare coins to secure their wealth. The 1981 P nickel, particularly the extreme error examples, offers a buy-in to this world. Unlike a piece of art that may cost millions to acquire, a rare error coin can be found for a fraction of that, if you know what you are looking for. Finally, we arrive at the resolution, the heat of the current market. The potential value of a near-perfect, high-grade error 1981 P nickel is not a myth. Auction houses like Heritage Auctions have seen fierce bidding wars over these anomalies. A 1981 P nickel struck on a cent planchet has sold for as much as $2,520 at Heritage, while double strike errors and broad strikes consistently reach into the hundreds and thousands of dollars. But the $581,000 figure is reserved for the unicorn, the coin that is currently the subject of intense speculation and insider chatter. This potential valuation is driven by a simple economic equation. Scarcity plus demand equals value. As the supply of high-grade Jefferson Nickels from the 1980s dwindles due to natural attrition, and as more collectors enter the market chasing the full steps variety, the coveted full steps designation on the Monticello structure, where the steps are completely visible and intact, the value of exceptional error examples skyrockets. Time is of the essence. We are currently experiencing a bull market for error coins. The internet and social media have democratized numismatics, allowing rare coins to be discovered and auctioned globally within hours. This 24/7 access to a global marketplace means that a coin found in a jar in Ohio could be sold to a collector in Tokyo within the same week. For those of you looking to achieve a wealthy lifestyle, understanding this velocity of capital is crucial. It is about recognizing value where others see junk. It is about making the conscious choice to inspect every piece of change that passes through your hands, to resist the urge to spend, and to curate a collection of hidden wealth. This is where the spender loses and the collector wins. Because while the spender is buying a cup of coffee, the collector is potentially holding a down payment on a home. As we close out today's deep dive, I want to give you one final attention reset. Look at that 1981 P nickel one more time. Look at the P mint mark. Is it blurry or sharp? Look at the rim. Is it perfectly round, or does it look like a tiny, flattened pancake? If you see anything unusual, do not clean it and do not spend it. Send it to a professional grading service. Could be worth the price of a new car. The thrill of the hunt is what drives the numismatic world, and the 1981 P nickel is the ultimate prey. But always remember, this is just the tip of the iceberg. The world of mint errors is vast and full of surprises, from the elusive 1943 copper penny to the dramatic 1955 double die. However, we have talked about the nickel today, but next week, we are going to uncover the mystery of another ultra-rare coin that could be hiding in plain sight. A coin that involves a famous historical typo and a very controversial set of dies. It is going to be explosive. So, if you enjoyed this journey into the rare and the valuable, make sure to hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications. You do not want to miss what is coming next. For now, get out there and start looking. Your fortune might just be 5 cents away. Imagine for a moment that you are standing at a checkout counter. The cashier hurriedly hands you a few coins as change. Among the clinking copper and silver is a dull, seemingly worthless nickel dated 1998. You slip it into your pocket without a second thought. But what if that single, unassuming piece of metal was a ghost? A phantom that the US Mint never intended to exist? What if that 5-cent coin you just dismissed as pocket change was a ticket to a life-changing fortune? A potential $690,000 piece of American history. This is the story of the 1998 P. Jefferson Nickel, a coin that represents the ultimate divide between the spender and the collector, and why your loose change jar might just be the most valuable asset in your home. Let's start by confronting a harsh reality. Every single day, millions of people make a devastating financial mistake. They see a coin, they see its face value, and they spend it without a thought. This is the spender's mentality, a belief system that looks at a piece of currency solely as a means to an end. But there is another breed of individual, the collector's mentality, who understands that the true value of a coin often lies not in the number stamped on its surface, but in its rarity, its history, and the story it tells. It is the difference between seeing 5 cents and seeing the potential for a down payment on a house. And right now, there is a specific coin that is causing a seismic shift in the numismatic world. Consider this your moment of truth, your attention reset. I want you to stop what you are doing and think. Think about the last time you paid for something in cash. Where did you put your change? Is it in a jar on your dresser? Is it in the cup holder of your car? Is it sitting in an old shoebox in the back of your closet? Because if you have ever handled a 1998 P. Jefferson Nickel, the fear of missing out should be hitting you like a freight train right now. The numismatic world is obsessed with finding these specific coins, and many of them are still out there, hiding in plain sight, just waiting for a discerning eye. The extreme rarity of the specific error marks we are about to discuss makes this search a modern-day treasure hunt. Let's talk about the anatomy of this ghost coin. The 1998 P. Jefferson Nickel, minted in Philadelphia, was struck in the millions, making the standard uncirculated coin a fairly common find. But it is the mistakes, the errors that occurred on the minting floor, that turn this humble piece into a legendary prize. The most coveted of these anomalies is the broad-struck error, a condition where the collar die that holds the planchet in place during striking fails to function, allowing the metal to spread outward beyond its normal boundaries. This creates a coin that is wider and flatter than it should be, with a distinctly uncentered design that makes it look otherworldly. In fact, experts note that these out-of-collar strikes often exhibit enhanced metal flow, creating a sharp, almost perfect strike on the steps of Monticello, a level of detail that is highly prized among collectors. The die that strikes the coin simply fails to contain the metal, allowing it to be born in a state of beautiful chaos. But the errors do not stop there. Imagine a coin that was not struck once, not twice, but 100 times. This is the phenomenon of a multiple strike error. In 2006, a 1998 P. Jefferson Nickel, graded MS-65 by Anax, was sold after surviving 100 strikes by the minting press. The planchet feeding mechanism became inoperative, leaving the coin trapped between the dies. With each repeated strike, the metal flowed and stretched, rendering the date, mint mark, and the inscriptions of Liberty and America illegible and distorted. It is a violent, chaotic portrait of minting gone wrong, and it transforms a nickel into a sculptural artifact of immense value. The final blows were so powerful that the date and mint mark were virtually erased from existence, leaving a ghost of a coin that is as puzzling as it is valuable. And then, there is the error that speaks of haunting perfection, the struck on a 10C planchet. A standard nickel is heavy and thick. But what if the mint accidentally fed a small, thin dime planchet into the nickel press? The result is a coin that is struck with the nickel design but is significantly smaller and lighter than it should be. A toned example of this exact error, a 1998 P. Jefferson Nickel struck on a dime planchet, sold in November 2023, stirring the numismatic community. The very concept that a coin could be born from such a fundamental identity crisis, struck by a nickel die on a planchet destined for a dime, is a testament to the rarity and allure of these mint errors. One of the most captivating and haunting errors in the 1998 series is the spiked head variety. This refers to a prominent, jagged die crack that emanates from Thomas Jefferson's portrait, often running from the lower bust or the head itself all the way to the rim of the coin. These die cracks are more than just damage. They are a unique fingerprint of the die's life cycle. In the world of proof coins, a 1998 spiked head was reported as a significant find, showcasing that even the mint's most carefully produced coins are susceptible to these chaotic flaws. For a collector, a spiked head is a beautiful reminder that even in the most controlled industrial process, anarchy can prevail. So we arrive at the question on everyone's mind. What is the value of this treasure? For most, a 1998 P. nickel is exactly what it says on the tin, 5 cents. A coin in mint state, such as an MS-67, can command a respectable yet modest sum around $200. But the market value of a coin is dictated by two things: its condition and its scarcity. When you combine a near-perfect MS-67 grade with the extreme rarity of a major mint error like a broad struck or a multiple strike, you enter a different financial stratosphere. While a perfect standard nickel might fetch a few $100s, error coins have been known to sell for thousands and, in some cases, millions. The legendary 1998 P. Jefferson Nickel with a prominent error can command prices in the tens and hundreds of thousands of dollars. The coin's value is driven by the market heat, a condition where the numismatic world is so focused on a specific rarity that buyers begin bidding wars to secure it. The potential market value reaching as high as $690,000 is a reflection of this extreme scarcity and desirability. It represents the pinnacle of what a modern coin can achieve. The current market is red hot for these specific errors, driven by a new generation of collectors who are realizing that the most valuable treasures are often found in the most overlooked places. This brings us to your call to action. It is time for you to adopt the collector's mentality. The next time you receive change, do not just throw it into a jar. Take a moment. Look closely. Examine the edge, the strike, the date. Use a magnifying glass if you have one. Check for the P mint mark. Look for the sharpness of the steps on Monticello. Examine the rim to see if it is broader than it should be. Look for cracks or unnatural distortions in Jefferson's portrait. The search might seem tedious, but the thrill of finding a ghost is what keeps millions of numismatists around the world looking. The 1998 P. Jefferson Nickel is not just a coin. It is a ghost that haunts the pockets of America. It represents the hidden wealth that is within our reach, the fortune that could be sitting in our own change jars. The urgency to check, to verify, and to hunt is real. As the market trends continue to rise and the number of these error coins discovered remains incredibly low, the window of opportunity to find one in the wild is closing. As we wrap up this journey, consider this a cliffhanger. The 1998 P is one of the most prominent specters in the coin world, but it is not alone. There are whispers of similar ultra-rare coins from the same era, waiting to be found by the right person. In our next video, we will uncover the secrets of the 1992 Close AM penny, a coin that has left even the most seasoned collectors in awe with its elusive nature and jaw-dropping auction results. Until then, look closely at your change. Fortune favors the prepared eye. Subscribe and never overlook your pocket change again.